Hey everyone, we're going to have your attention real fast. My name is Jason Cavness with CavnessHR, and thank you for coming to CavnessHR Seattle's.tech. As you know, traffic is pretty bad right now, so people will be coming in later on. But right now, we're at 16 great startups doing demos, showing off what they're building for the Seattle tech community. Got cocktails, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? And also, if you can't do day drinking, why be an entrepreneur, right? So do some day drinking. We got some pasta. Just have a great time. There'll be demos, networking, drinking, eating from noon to 2. At 2 o'clock, we're going to have some keynote speech by Kevin Goldsmith, and I'll say a few words. So let's have a good time. Any questions, just let me know. And thank you.
What do you hope to gain from this event?
Yeah, we're looking to meet with like-minded investors who are investing in AI for physical use cases.
What do you hope to achieve from with your company? What do you hope to achieve with your company?
Curie does 3D reconstruction for companies like Meta and ByteDance, the 2 largest social networks in the world, to bring products in 3 dimensions to consumers, helping businesses increase sales conversion rates for up to 1 billion products online.
What makes you different from your competition?
Realism. So Curie focuses on accuracy, as you can see. The way that people construct and architect AI today can only do approximations of things. They can actually recreate up to 1 billion products that are sold online. So Curie focuses on photographic accuracy of products so they can actually be used for physical AI.
It was the weirdest.
And tell me a little bit about your company.
CloudCloud is for brands and their agencies who are interested in acquiring customers and fostering relationships with them in the long term. We have a very acquiring customers, embracing privacy using mobile wallet. There's not a lot of people using this technology today, embracing privacy.
Is anything going on until 3 o'clock?
And the ones who are not
I'm going to go get
acquisition as a
food.
primary
I have very odd dietary
built an
restrictions.
entire
It's all good, but I'm going to go find some. Okay.
that gives frictionless acquisition, easy access to frictionless acquisition to those brands and their agencies, allows those brands to foster relationships by providing an environment where consumers can walk directly into a store at the time and place they choose or order online at the time and place they choose. And that relationship can be maintained over time by the brand.
What do you hope to gain from this event?
I heard there's going to be some investors here. I could use some new angel investors. That would be great. A little bit of recognition and notoriety is always appreciated, and a bit of practice telling my story.
As an engineer here at Waverly, so it makes sense for me to do it, I guess. So maybe I'll just start from the beginning. So the phone has a speaker and microphone co-located on the bottom, and what we do with that is we play a chirp, which sweeps over a variety of frequencies. That sounds basically like that, right? And the idea there is that those sound waves will establish basically a standing wave in the eardrum of a child, and depending on the length of the ear canal and the mobility of the eardrum, that standing wave will change its character and reflect part of that chirp differently. And so the reason for the chirp with a variety of sine waves is because as a child grows, their ear will get longer, will get larger, and so we need a variety of frequencies to interrogate the eardrum at all the different frequencies that might possibly be useful for setting up that standing wave in the eardrum. If the eardrum is highly mobile and transmissive to the sound, there will be a relatively small echo coming back because the eardrum is basically allowing sound to go through into the middle ear. But when there's middle ear fluid, the fact that the fluid is incompressible makes it a very hard
needs to show the
boundary.
product more.
So there's a very solid echo coming back, and that destructively interferes at a particular frequency corresponding to the length of the ear canal in a way that destructive interference can be detected by the machine learning and signal processing algorithms that we've built out. And so the reason for the chirp is exactly what you're asking. Like, when you have kids growing, their ear changes, and so we need a variety of different frequencies to set up that
I had a total of
wave
55
to
people
figure out
apply,
whether
so
the
I
eardrum is
16.
moving or not. And whether the eardrum moves is the key clinical exam finding that doctors need to pair with information about whether the child has ear pain, whether they have a fever or something like that, to say whether they should likely give that kid antibiotics to help them get better. That's the idea.
This is actually to 2 o'clock.
Well, we basically have no competition in this exact space. There are otoscopes that parents can buy, digital otoscopes for looking in your kid's ear, but there are existing studies that basically show that those digital otoscopes are very difficult for untrained parents to get a clinically useful picture of the eardrum that they would then send to a doctor. The other sort of hitch there is that it's actually very hard to tell just looking at an eardrum whether a kid has fluid behind the eardrum, because it's not see-through really. When your kid is yelling and having a bad time, all of the capillaries in there
Is the
actually
microphone
get
on?
pretty inflamed and filled with blood,
No,
and
I'm
so
this.
I hear him
the
talking.
look of it is basically an inflamed, angry-looking eardrum that you could convince yourself is infected when it's really just that your kid is upset about something, has a stomach ache, who knows what it is that's actually causing them to complain. And so our app gives doctors a way of, without having to see the child in person, figuring out whether there's that middle ear fluid, which is what they really need to know to make an accurate diagnosis about whether they need to give the kid some sort of medical treatment, or whether it's the sort of thing that you should just wait and see how it develops. Because a lot of times you can just sit with it and the kid is going to get better soon, and there's no need for intervention. So,
friend up who happens to run a VR education company that does after-school programs in 4 different states, and I said, okay, people from Washington Department of Education and YMCA Boys and Girls Club. Do you know anyone who'd be interested? And he said, Joey, I want 40. And at that point, I was still in the design phase, so I didn't even have one yet, and so I was panicking a little, and so I tell him this, and he says, I don't care, just get started. So that was enough to start a business, and it's 2 months later, and we're about to launch a Kickstarter campaign August 14th. So we're here to promote.
Can you re-explain very briefly what it does exactly?
So this is our, so we're Takamura Robot, and this is the Hero Kit. So HIRO, which stands for highly interactive robotic organism. So it's a kit based off of the Raspberry Pi Pico microcontroller, which is actually a cheap microcontroller. You can get them for $7 to $9. It's actually Bluetooth and Wi-Fi enabled. So we're building easy to assemble robotics kits to teach students electronics and programming, and for makers and hobbyists, a platform for prototyping using robotics. And so it's a microcontroller connected to 8 servo motors, which allows it to kind of crawl around. And because it's Bluetooth and Wi-Fi enabled, we're eventually going to create some code for it that will allow people to remote control the robot.
What makes you different from your competition?
So I actually built this because so when I was in middle school, the kit that was around in my day was Lego Mindstorms. They were fun, and they taught you, problem solving and teamwork, but there were 2 problems. 1, they were expensive, and 2, I didn't actually walk away from the class with any technical skills because they made programming too easy and electronics too easy. And I spent freshman year of high school just reading book after book after books to finally be able to build my first robot. So I want to take that process and just make it easier, so I designed the Hero Kit.
Make a security and
router company. So this is our authentic anchor right here. What this does is it'll combine two internet connections to make a more faster, more resilient internet connection for our customers. So right here, we've got two modems, each with their own separate internet connection. They're going into our router here. They're being combined, and out comes a way faster, more resilient connection.
And what makes you different from your competition?
Yeah, one of the things that we're really focusing on is what kind of use cases. So any place where you have critical infrastructure, think ships, hospitals, military bases, any kind of place where permanently losing internet connection or even 10 minutes, 5 minutes is a serious concern. This is perfect.
And I'm working on is a little blueprint. It is AI-backed parenting app. So what we are doing is based on the centers of child development psychologist theories, and then use AI to develop to deliver the advice that parents can use directly in their situation, and help them to connect with their kids much better, because it helps them to understand their kids too.
What makes you different from the competition?
So far, we haven't seen any app that can, or any tool that can help parents to understand their kids, who they are. It's very one size fits all the theories. So parents has to kind of dive into those knowledge and to really understand who their kids are, and then convert the advice into those scripts, what they should say. So it takes a lot of time, and parents are very busy. So we are giving parents a parenting coach in their pocket 24/7 whenever they see any problem. For example, the bedtime struggles or screen time troubles, they have something to say, and they really understand why their kids cannot listen before, so that they know the right language to say.
And I work at Team 8 AI, and we're basically a meeting overlay for Gmeet, for Zoom, and even for Teams. Any meeting service that you use, it's essentially an extension that just lays on top. And let's just say you deal with problems with screen sharing, or collaborating with your teammates during the meeting, or even like getting recommendations in real time for like what to present on. This is basically the app that helps you with that. Would you like a demo? Yeah. So let me just go back to... Yeah, so these are some of the problems that we solve, but let's just take a look at this. So during the meeting, I'm talking to you, and I was asked the question, you love this app, you really want to use it, and you asked me the question, what about pricing, you know? And I just don't have the pricing deck here at all. Instead of going to a different tab, going through all the slides, I can just search up here, pricing, and I can just drag this and drop it and just move along with my presentation. Yeah, and this is our view, me and my partners, but you only see this. So the clean version, don't know what's happening in the back end, right? We also have the typical recap of what happened during the meeting, questions that were asked during the meeting, and action items. And then...
What makes you different from your competition?
What makes us different from our competition? So this collaboration canvas, nobody else has. So this is entirely unique to us. We have a patent pending for it. Additionally, we have real-time recommendations in meetings. So even if you asked about pricing and I didn't have the time to search it up, it will pull that slide for me and tell me to present it. Yeah. It also does text-based recommendations, slide recommendations. Also, we have a virtual agent here. So we can invite this virtual agent into our meeting. Yeah, it'll take a second, but yeah. So we'll admit it. And essentially, whatever you ask this agent, it'll enter the meeting, so you can control what it listens to. So right now it's listening. Let me just unmute and just ask. Is Team 8 SOC 2 Type 2 compliant?
My name is Mark Schreiner. I'm the co-founder and CEO of BreezeDocs. BreezeDocs is an RFP response platform. We help companies respond to RFPs in a super efficient way, help them collaborate with their colleagues, etc. And how we do that is we take all the old documents that they've completed, all their old RFP documents, any company policy documents, help files, etc., put that in their Knowledge Hub, and then when a new RFP comes in, Breeze pre-populates or suggests answers for all those questions. And then if you're, as the project manager, if you're not sure about any of those answers, what you can do is go ahead and tag any of your colleagues, assign them the questions, they get an email with a link, and it'll take them to the questions that they need to check on or answer. That's the long and short of it. Obviously, it's a lot more sophisticated, complicated, but really what it does is it reduces RFP response times by about 80%. Is that good?
Different from your competition.
So that's a very good question. Breeze is specifically targeting small and medium businesses. Small and medium businesses are particularly challenged to respond to RFPs because they don't have dedicated proposal managers, but also because they have limited budgets. Our competitions are priced at about 4 to 5 times higher than Breeze. They have all the bells and whistles that the large enterprise customers might need. But Breeze is right-sized for that SMB market and right-priced, we say, budget smart for the SMBs.
My name is Michael Nassirian. Our company is Tsai Corporation. It's a Delaware-based company. We are based here in the state of Washington. I'm a long-time veteran executive of Microsoft for 20 years. Developed this platform to enable seniors, 65 and older, to age in place without use of camera, without use of wearables, total complete privacy, and we do that through the use of motion sensors, as you can see over there. These motion sensors are designed to... You got it?
Okay, good.
Yeah, the motion sensors are designed to detect the motions and define the anomalies of elderly. So as the elderly move through the home, through the bedroom, through the bathroom, the motion sensors would find a pattern and said that Mrs. Jones have gone to the bathroom 4 times a day, and the whole day was 40 minutes. Now tomorrow, Ms. Jones has gone to the bathroom 12 times with a duration of 1 hour. Is it UTI? Or one of the main things that kills the elderly, and it's a 30-some% fatality, is a bed sore. When the elderly are not moving, the bed sore would turn into a wound and turn into an infection and sepsis and then die. And this is designed to help elderly that are staying in their place, whether they're in your home, in their own home, or in the senior care facility. It doesn't matter. The platform would install in their environment and help next of kin, you and me, to have eyes and ears for our loved one. So we're the ADT of health for our loved one. The same thing that you buy ADT security for your home, now you buy ADT security for your loved one.
And what makes you different from your competition?
Competition has wearables, have cameras, and the people have to do things. Those bandanas that you put there, and you have to push things for help. This is total non-invasive with complete privacy in mind. The environment is becoming your sensors. The environment becomes you, and the environment will detect any anomaly that you have.
PassCloud is for brands and their agencies who are interested in acquiring customers and fostering relationships with them in the long term. We have a way for them to frictionlessly acquire new customers, embracing privacy using mobile wallet from Apple and Google.
And what makes you different from your competition?
There's not a lot of people using this technology today, embracing privacy and mobile wallet, and the ones who are not after acquisition as a primary story. We've built an entire platform, it's a SaaS model, that gives frictionless acquisition, easy access to frictionless acquisition to those brands and their agencies, allows those brands to foster relationships by providing an environment where consumers can walk directly into a store at the time and place they choose, or order online at a time and place they choose. And that relationship can be maintained over time by the brand.
And what do you hope to gain from this event?
I heard there's going to be some investors here. I could use some new angel investors. That would be great. A little bit of recognition and notoriety is always appreciated, and a bit of practice telling my story.
Machine learning engineer and signal processing engineer here at Wavely, so it makes sense for me to do it, I guess. Yeah, so maybe I'll just start from the beginning. So the phone has a speaker and microphone co-located on the bottom, and what we do with that is we play a chirp, which sweeps over a variety of frequencies. That sounds basically like, right? And the idea there is that those sound waves will establish basically a standing wave in the eardrum of a child, and depending on the length of the ear canal and the mobility of the eardrum, that standing wave will change its character and reflect part of that chirp differently. And so the reason for the chirp with a variety of sine waves is because as a child grows, their ear will get longer, will get larger, and so we need a variety of frequencies to interrogate the eardrum at all the different frequencies that might possibly be useful for setting up that standing wave in the eardrum. If the eardrum is highly mobile and transmissive to the sound, there will be a relatively small echo coming back because the eardrum is basically allowing sound to go through into the middle ear. But when there's middle ear fluid, the fact that the fluid is incompressible makes it a very hard boundary, so there's a very solid echo coming back, and that destructively interferes at a particular frequency corresponding to the length of the ear canal in a way that destructive interference can be detected by the machine learning and signal processing algorithms that we've built out. And so the reason for the chirp is exactly what you're asking. Like, when you have kids growing, their ear changes, and so we need a variety of different frequencies to set up that standing wave to figure out whether the eardrum is moving or not. And whether the eardrum moves is the key clinical exam finding that doctors need to pair with information about whether the child has ear pain, whether they have a fever or something like that, to say whether they should likely give that kid antibiotics to help them get better. That's the idea.
What makes you different from your competition?
Well, we basically have no competition in this exact space.
It's pretty unique, yeah.
There are otoscopes that parents can buy, digital otoscopes for looking in your kid's ear, but there are existing studies that basically show that those digital otoscopes are very difficult for untrained parents to get a clinically useful picture of the eardrum that they would then send to a doctor. The other sort of hitch there is that it's actually very hard to tell just looking at an eardrum whether a kid has fluid behind the eardrum, because it's not see-through really. When your kid is yelling and having a bad time, all of the capillaries in there actually get pretty inflamed and filled with blood, and so the look of it is basically an inflamed, angry-looking eardrum that you could convince yourself is infected when it's really just that your kid is upset about something, has a stomach ache, who knows what it is that's actually causing them to complain. And so our app gives doctors a way of, without having to see the child in person, figuring out whether there's that middle ear fluid, which is what they really need to know to make an accurate diagnosis about whether they need to give the kid some sort of medical treatment, or whether it's the sort of thing that you should just wait and see how it develops. Because a lot of times you can just sit with it and the kid is going to get better soon, and there's no need for intervention. So,
friend up who happens to run a VR education company that does after-school programs in 4 different states, and I said, okay, you know people from Washington Department of Education and YMCA Boys and Girls Club. Do you know anyone who'd be interested? And he said, Joey, I want 40. And at that point, I was still in the design phase, so I didn't even have one yet, and so I was panicking a little, and so I tell him this, and he says, I don't care, just get started. So that was enough to start a business, and it's 2 months later, and we're about to launch a Kickstarter campaign August 14th. So we're here to promote.
Can you re-explain very briefly what it does exactly?
So this is our so we're Takamura Robot, and this is the Hero Kit. So HIRO, so which stands for highly interactive robotic organism. So it's a kit based off of the Raspberry Pi Pico microcontroller, which is actually a cheap microcontroller. You can get them for $79. It's actually Bluetooth and Wi-Fi enabled. So we're building easy to assemble robotics kits to teach students electronics and programming, and for makers and hobbyists, a platform for prototyping using robotics. And so it's a microcontroller connected to eight servo motors, which allows it to kind of crawl around. And because it's Bluetooth and Wi-Fi enabled, we're eventually going to create some code for it that will allow people to remote control the robot.
What makes you different from your competition?
So I actually built this because so when I was in middle school, the kit that was around in my day was Lego Mindstorms. They were fun, and they taught you, problem solving and teamwork. But there were two problems. One, they were expensive, and two, I didn't actually walk away from the class with any technical skills because they made programming too easy and electronics too easy. And I spent like freshman year of high school just reading book after book after books to finally be able to build my first robot. So I want to take that process and just make it easier, so I designed the Hero Kit.
Doppel,
Wait, start over. Okay, go.
So we're Doppel, and my name is Achyutan. I'm the lead robotics engineer at Doppel. So the gist of our company is we provide telerobotic ultrasound solutions. So this enables us to reach out to underserved and underrepresented areas where experts who can provide these healthcare services are not available. So people in more staff locations, like urban locations, can provide their services through a robot very easily from the comfort of their home, and they can be,
or at least explain what it is.
Yeah. So this would be the expert side, where the expert will be controlling the handheld controller. So think of this person being located somewhere in Seattle, and this is our friend Lucas, who is like our mock patient for the day, and he will be in a distant location. Think somewhere in rural Texas or Kansas or something. And so Steve, who is present and available, can provide an ultrasound scan for Lucas in a place where such services are not available otherwise. So in this way, he's able to receive the service instead of having to wait for several months, signing up and waiting for someone to become available in his area. So that's pretty much most what we do. So we develop software that facilitates software and artificial intelligence to facilitate this sort of action.
And what makes you different from your competition?
So one thing is we work a lot with sonographers already. So not only do we have a service that's running outreach, where we have sonographers going out into this rural area, getting a feel for the lay of the land. We also have sonographers deeply involved in the design iteration process. So every single feature that we implement is signed off on by actual experts who will be using them. Not only that, we have a team of founders, Steve and Wayne, who are actual clinicians who have a basic understanding of this particular healthcare service, and their inputs and feedback also helps us develop an interface that's seamless and easy to adopt. So.
You see yourself here?
I'm with Authentic.
Wait, start over. Okay, go.
Hi, my name is Aaron. I'm with Authentic. We make a security and router company. So this is our Authentic Anchor right here. What this does is it'll combine two internet connections to make a more faster, more resilient internet connection for our customers. So right here, we've got two modems, each with their own separate internet connection. They're going into our router here. They're being combined, and out comes a way faster, more resilient connection.
And what makes you different from your competition?
Yeah, one of the things that we're really focusing on is what kind of use cases. So any place where you have critical infrastructure, think ships, hospitals, military bases, any kind of place where permanently losing internet connection or even 10 minutes, 5 minutes is a serious concern, this is perfect.
Thank you.
I'm Nick White. I'm with Thinky. This is a brain training sensor. It's about the size of a cigarette lighter, weighs 30 grams. You wear it on your forehead, and it improves your cognition in your prefrontal cortex, which is the most important part of the brain when it comes to staying cognitively acute and lucid. That's the part of the brain that deteriorates after age 35, and when it deteriorates to enough of an extent, we call that dementia and Alzheimer's, the inability to take care of yourself. So if you want to live longer and have your brain keep up with you, this is the thing to do. 15 minutes a day, 3 to 4 times a week, in as little as a month, you'll see an improvement in your short-term memory, in your focus, and in your mental processing speed.
What makes you different from your competition?
There are other sensors out there, but they do meditation. There are other brain training games out there, but they don't have a sensor to tell you how your unique brain is operating. It tells you how your brain is operating against the larger population, which isn't really any good for you if you want to know what sort of things you really need to focus on. You may have no problem with short-term memory. You may have an issue with attention switching, focus, and concentration. You're not going to know that without a sensor.
As a service provider here in Seattle, we focus on engineering, architecture, and construction companies, but really we will support anyone, accounting, restaurants, we run the gamut. And we're sponsoring today's event, constantly trying to be part of the tech community here in Seattle.
Awesome. Tell me again your name.
Oh, I'm Charles, account manager here at Century Computing.
Jessica Xu, and I'm working on is a little blueprint. It is AI-backed parenting app. So what we are doing is based on the centers of child development psychologist theories, and then use AI to develop to deliver the advice that parents can use directly in their situation, and help them to connect with their kids much better, because it helps them to understand their kids too.
What makes you different from the competition?
So far, we haven't seen any app that can, or any tool that can help parents to understand their kids, who they are. It's very one size fits all the theories. So parents has to kind of dive into those knowledge and to really understand who their kids are, and then convert the advice into those scripts, what they should say. So it takes a lot of time, and parents are very busy. So we are giving parents a parenting coach in their pocket 24/7 whenever they see any problem. For example, the bedtime struggles or screen time troubles, they have something to say, and they really understand why their kids cannot listen before, so that they know the right language to say.
My name is Sweta, and I work at Team 8 AI, and we're basically a meeting overlay for Gmeet, for Zoom, and even for Teams. Any meeting service that you use, it's essentially an extension that just lays on top. And let's just say you deal with problems with screen sharing, or collaborating with your teammates during the meeting, or even like getting recommendations in real time for like what to present on. This is basically the app that helps you with that. Would you like a demo? Yeah. So let me just go back to... Yeah, so these are some of the problems that we solve, but let's just take a look at this. So during the meeting, I'm talking to you, and I was asked the question, you love this app, you really want to use it, and you asked me the question, what about pricing, And I just don't have the pricing deck here at all. Instead of going to a different tab, going through all the slides, I can just search up here, pricing, and I can just drag this and drop it and just move along with my presentation. Yeah, and this is our view, me and my partners, but you only see this. So the clean version, don't know what's happening in the back end, right? We also have the typical recap of what happened during the meeting, questions that were asked during the meeting, and action items. And then
What makes you different from your competition?
what makes us different from our competition? So this collaboration canvas, nobody else has. So this is entirely unique to us. We have a patent pending for it. Additionally, we have real-time recommendations in meetings. So even if you asked about pricing and I didn't have the time to search it up, it will pull that slide for me and tell me to present it. Yeah, it also does text-based recommendations, slide recommendations. Also, we have a virtual agent here. So we can invite this virtual agent into our meeting. Yeah, it'll take a second, but yeah. So we'll admit it. And essentially, whatever you ask this agent, it'll enter the meeting. So you can control what it listens to. So right now it's listening. Let me just unmute and just ask. Is Teammate SOC 2 Type 2 compliant? Do you want to do it on your computer?
So hi, so my name is Mark Schreiner. I'm the co-founder and CEO of BreezeDocs. BreezeDocs is an RFP response platform. We help companies respond to RFPs in a super efficient way, help them collaborate with their colleagues, etc. And how we do that is we take all the old documents that they've completed, all their old RFP documents, any company policy documents, help files, etc. Put that in their Knowledge Hub, and then when a new RFP comes in, Breeze pre-populates or suggests answers for all those questions. And then if you're, as the project manager, if you're not sure about any of those answers, what you can do is go ahead and tag any of your colleagues, assign them the questions, they get an email with a link, and it'll take them to the questions that they need to check on or answer. That's the long and short of it. Obviously, it's a lot more sophisticated, complicated, but really what it does is it reduces RFP response times by about 80%.
Everything from help desk up to AI integration, cloud consulting, cybersecurity, and kind of everything in between. We often just end up fixing everyone else's products to make them work. We keep things working. The mark I hope to leave on the world is to just make things work better. I know that's very similar to the message I just said, but it really is true. Like, our whole goal is to make things more streamlined, help people move to the cloud, help make IT easier. And to that end, like, our difference between the competitors that I know of in our industry, I mean, there's a lot that are similar to us that are good, and they're good because they are more humanized. Like, we make a big effort to be very relationship-based, to really care about our clients, engage with them constantly, and not be a bunch of robots just fixing problems. We want to actually help people and talk to people and engage.
And what makes you different from your competition?
That was it. That was one I just answered. Mostly just that we are very relationship based. We are very people focused. We are not just some random group of people that you'll run into whenever you only need help because something is broken. We want to help guide people down a path. We want to get you to the next level in your IT journey.
Whenever you're ready.
All right. Hi, I'm Robert Massey. I'm the founder of Astrolabe Analytics. We are a battery analytics provider for commercial and industrial applications, among other things. So we're harvesting data from our customers' battery-powered systems, time, voltage, current, temperature, whatever you got, and using that to help forecast the lifetime and performance of those battery-powered assets.
What makes you different from your competition?
We're got a handful of different algorithms that we've got patent pending, looking at making sure the batteries don't catch on fire and giving you advanced warning if something bad's going to happen. So, the name of the game for us is extending the warranty for batteries that are working just fine and removing unsafe batteries from service if they're not just fine. So,
what kind of impact do you want to leave in the world or in the day-to-day life of a person?
well, I mean, step one, we're just going to make the forklifts work, and then start from humble beginnings, then we can eventually work our way up to trucks and buses and all the other things that are becoming increasingly electrified.
Whenever you're ready.
Hi, I'm Steve Harris from PassCloud. PassCloud is for brands and their agencies who are interested in acquiring new customers and fostering lasting relationships. We're a SaaS platform that's taken the combination of the remarkable adoption of Apple and Google Wallet and the pervasive demand for privacy to create frictionless acquisition. Unlike other acquisition tactics, we provide ongoing, always-on connections to interested anonymous consumers and empower them to shop on their terms at a time and place they choose. And we provide end-to-end attribution for every purchase journey. Thank you.
What makes you different from your competition?
I think some of the things I mentioned are really standouts. First, it's attribution, dramatically different. The next, it's acquisition. This is an acquisition play that allows brands to foster those interested anonymous relationships. If I had to pick one thing, I'd say frictionless acquisition is a real game changer.
And what impact do you want to leave on the world with your work?
It's an interesting question. I think sometimes technology is based, the best technology is based on how much they can help the world, how they can make things different and better. I believe the best technology is a technology that gives you the opportunity to do something new, something different that you couldn't do before in a simple, clean, compelling way. It's the technology that abstracts you from the complexity that's really there to deliver you something compelling that I find interesting. I've been building experiences for 30 years, some good, some not great, some exceptional. It's always the ones that feel simple, clean, and easy that change your behavior that I think are the most compelling.
So first, thank you everyone for coming here today. Really appreciate it. Thank you for taking time out to go to this event. First, I'm going to allow the people give in-kind donations a chance to talk for a couple of minutes. So first, I'm going to give the mic to Andrew Klein out of Z Accounting.
Just give a heads up about what we do.
Yeah.
I'm Andrew from Z Accounting, and I actually will tell a little story. I started Z Accounting about 12 years ago when I was working for an angel investment group where I think we met, actually. And I recognized that entrepreneurs and investors sucked at communicating, right? And so I thought if I could just help entrepreneurs communicate better with investors, then we get a lot more investment in Seattle. A lot more investors would make a lot more money, and then there'd be more money to invest in more startups. So about 10 years ago, I started Z Accounting, originally as a CFO for hire business, but I realized on a basic level, if you don't have your basic bookkeeping, you can't do projections, you can't pitch investors if you don't know, what your basic expenses and revenues are. So we do bookkeeping, payroll, taxes for about 300 companies nationwide. We've got offices in Bellevue, Glendale, California, and Washington, D.C. So thanks so much for having us here, and I look forward to talking with everyone. And you can find us at caccounting.com and book a meeting directly there. What are you giving the mic?
So next is Crystal.
I'm giving whatever he told me to give. That's a good answer.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Crystal. I'm with S2S PR, and we are a full-service communications agency based here in Seattle. We primarily work with people like you, startups that are looking to raise money, overcome a big, regulatory hurdle, attract the best talent, bring your product to market. We are tech agnostic, but we've done a lot of work with companies in life sciences, medical devices, AI, robotics, clean tech, clean energy. We're a small company by design because we see ourselves as being part of your team. So we like to think of ourselves as we want to be at the table with the founders. We understand what it's like to start from scratch and really build something. And our team, like I said, we're full service. So anything from brand messaging, helping you with your website, PR, putting together a social media strategy, digital marketing, putting together pitch decks, thinking about what's your investor story. So we really kind of can hit on all of the important parts about communication. We do use AI to accelerate our work and make sure that we are, helping you be as effective as you can with your resources. But at really the foundation, communications is about relationships, and we built a lot of relationships in our 8 years in business with not only media that will really help move the needle and tell your story, but also just understanding the VC landscape, fundraising. So anyway, S2SPR, we are supporting the winning team with a few 30-minute consults. But we're here to talk, and if we can be of any help to any of you, please feel free to reach out. Eric is on our team as well. He's back there. I'm going to have to unfortunately leave pretty soon, but Eric will be here for a little while as well. And you can find us online at s2spr.com. Again, my name is Crystal Clarity. Feel free to reach out on LinkedIn as well.
Thank you, Chris. The account is giving away 6 months of free bookkeeping. And next is Zarin for a WoW Rack.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Zarin. I'm with a company called Wow Rack. We are a privately owned cloud solutions provider, and anything IT infrastructure related, managed services, and co-location services, DR, backup, all the stuff that you guys will definitely need eventually. And we're giving away free co-location for 6 months, I think, and then public cloud credit for up to a year.
So Zarin say here. So next I have all the judges talk. So Zarin's also a judge. So I have you talk 2 minutes about your judging experience.
Oh, what? Sorry.
Yeah, about your judging.
Yeah. Well, So first of all, I mean, I'm super impressed with this room. I did not expect what I've seen here today. Like really, everyone has like some crazy, one of the things that I thought was really important is the impact, and there's so many companies here that just really work on a problem that is so impactful that will help many people, and so I'm very impressed. Just all around, just super impressed with everyone that's here today.
Well, thank you. Angie, can you come up next? So Angie Parker, you don't know her, she's the managing director of Alliance of Angels, Air Force Founders. We've known each other for a long time.
I don't need to do any more talking. Hi everyone, Angie Parker. I'm the executive director at the Alliance of Angels. Before that, I was a veteran-founded VC firm, and before that, startup operator founder. And then, Air Force. I flew on AWACS as the radar technician. So technical background, love everything startup related. I also went to UW's entrepreneurship business program. Absolutely a huge fan. Love the program there. And I, honestly, like what Zarin said too, that I'm just blown away at all the startups that are here. Like the caliber, I had no expectations, but whatever they were in the back of my head, this is just 10x what I was expecting, or just had no even awareness of what to expect. So very, very impressed with the founders here tonight. So kudos to all of you, and you're doing it. You're doing the work. It's hard. I've been there. It's hard work, and you just got to do it. You got to pound the pavement. But yes, Alliance of Angels, we are about 30 years old. We're a group of angel investors, mostly in the Pacific Northwest. We deploy anywhere from $4 to $6 million a year in capital, with individual checks as well as a member-only fund. So that's about $150, $175K for the member fund check. We are technically industry agnostic, but we do love B2B SaaS, life sciences, and CPG, because most of our members come from those industries from the local area, and we invest in what we know and what we can fact check on our own. You can apply online directly from our website and drop yourself into our funnel. There's no gatekeeping by an individual person, and we'll always give you feedback on your application. So we're trying to be founder friendly as well. We have free office hours on our website. I'd love to talk more about angel investing and how that might help your startup. Thank you.
Thank you, Angie. So next one, Eloise, come up. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm here representing the open source community. We are the biggest and the largest meetup with more than 30,000 members in data science and computer science here in the Seattle area. And tomorrow we have an event, it's free. We are going to have great food and great speakers at Databricks Bellevue. Just go to meetup.com by Data Seattle all together. And I'm so impressed here with all the founders and the startups. I'm very, very amazed of all your hard work, and I hope that the open source community support you. And if you would like to present your product in one of our meetups, currently we are hosting 300 to 400 people every month. Please let me know, and we keep in contact, and I hope to host you in the following months. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Lee, can you come up, please?
Hi, everybody. I gotta get all of you. Hey guys, let's give everybody a hand. All of these founders, they did an amazing job. I'm really impressed. So I am just a humble pizza maker. I am the founder of Moto Pizza, for those of you who don't know. I think the reason that Jason invited me is because of my madness and what I bring to the table. And my intention is to turn the industry upside down by bringing in robotics and technology into food innovation. So right now, I partnered with Picnic Robotics. I'm doing pizza in large stadiums right now where our robot is doing about 3,000 pizzas a day. I'm gonna be one of the first right now, I'm partnered with Zipline to do drone delivery. Either it's probably being pushed at the beginning of the year versus the end of this year. And of course, we're implementing a lot of new AI technology that everybody is playing with right now, and that's some of the fun stuff for me. I don't know if you follow my Instagram, I was actually talking to myself on AI, ordering a pizza, which was the craziest thing in my voice. So that was really fun. I have to say, I'm so inspired by every one of you that are doing these startups and where you're at right now. Wow, just well done. It was really hard for all of us as judges. I can speak for the ladies when I say it was a difficult decision. So know that it was close for many of you guys, so well done. Every one of you that are here are for a reason that is either technology or entrepreneurship or whatever it is. I just want to say this to you and encourage you, wherever you're at right now and where you want to be, yes, it's going to be a little bit difficult. There's going to be a few stutter steps along the way. Don't be afraid to screw it up. There's nobody that messes things up more than me, and I'm still moving forward. So I just wanted to encourage you to be strong and just keep plugging away and don't let negative haters or things that get in the way or problems stop you. Just keep going, guys. So thanks again. It's an honor to be here. Really appreciate you guys. Peace.
Thank you, Lee. Sierra, can you come here, please? Next up is Sierra.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sierra Klaus. I'm a founding partner at Barklow Venture Studios. We are a venture studio that just launched this year, backed by a global fund called Qubits Ventures. They selected the Pacific Northwest and Cascadia around the future of technology and future compute because right now there are 48 countries in the world, 47 of them, not China, with a quantum or some sort of future tech initiative with heavy investment, treating it as an imperative. In the US, there are 9 states with a quantum future compute initiative. The US is not one of those countries, and Washington State is not yet one of those states. And we exist here to change that. Right now, we have a challenge around future fluency. When people think about the future of technology, the most brilliant minds in innovation rising to the challenges of humanity's biggest problems, we can have a picture in our head of what it's like to live and work and play and age here. None of that is enterprise SaaS. And yet, so much of the investment, so much of what we're oriented around, kind of doesn't leave a lot of room for what we know can make the future better. So we're here to help build that ecosystem, build a little bit more of that future fluency. A lot of very smart people here in this room, a lot of people out there. You ask about the future of tech, it's AI, AGI, and more AI. There is more than that. We got to see some of that in this room today around what future tech can really do and how that's going to force us to have to think about how we do everything from compute to data, intelligence, apps, all of it. So that's what our venture studio focuses on. Excited to be here. I was also one of the judges, and I have to agree with what everybody else said. But I want to say something more specific about what I love to see in this room. Nobody here had a solution that's looking for a problem. Everybody in this room, to me, has exit targets. They have a path, and they're also thinking about not just the impact of what they're doing, but how to bring people along the way, like in terms of partner, monetization. And while everybody is in different places, I love all the different ways and styles people were kind of telling their story, or even when you look you guys up online, your website, such a range. And it's just exciting to see all of it in this room today. So it's been a pleasure, it's been an honor, it's been great getting to know a lot of you. And thanks, Jason, for putting this together.
Thank you. So I want to thank all the people who gave in-kind donations, the ones here, the ones who are not here. I want to thank the judges too. I want to go ahead and thank in advance Kevin Goldsmith, who's going to give a great keynote speech. Kevin charges lots of money for his speeches, right? And he's doing this for free, right? I really appreciate that. Also, after that, Take Cover is going to announce the winner of the contest and give remarks as a sponsor. But right now, I want to talk about the future of HR and Cavness HR, right? And how HR is actually an engineering challenge, not a soft skill admin function, right? So small business is wasting time and money in HR because there's really no solution for them. Maybe I have to go this way. Oh, there it is. Hello, my name is Jason Cavness. I'm an INFJ, retired U.S. Army officer, CEO and founder of Cavness HR. I'm also host of the Jason Cavness Experience podcast. Teams I led in the military always led their way, always excelled. It was any kind of competition, weapons, PT, work in general, which could be measured with metrics or data, we came on top. And one thing I'm really proud of, everyone who worked for me in the military got promoted ahead of peers. And with Cavness HR, we were using senior devs out of Vietnam, not like freelancers from Upwork and Fiverr. We're not using like one of those companies where I'm like one project for 20,000 people, right? I'm going back to Vietnam for the third time in September. I've built some deep, meaningful connections over there. So I'm connected with senior developers who have pushed out stuff in AI, SaaS, mobile, across global industries. And an example of how connected I am over there, I just had a meeting with a guy in the Vietnamese government who's in charge of trade between U.S. and the United States. He wants me to try to help him out, try to improve that, right? So like I said, each year small business loses time and money on HR. And for the deeper dive, each year they lose $29 billion. If you break it down, it's $10,000 per employee, small business. And when I say small business, I specifically mean like 49 or below. Because as you probably know, the SBA says small business 500 employees or below. So we're focused on 49 or below. And they're wasting like 25% of their time because there's no solution for them, right? Everything's like, is not for them. And so Cavness HR, we want to build a mobile-first AI-powered platform that's ethically balanced and with the foundation of cybersecurity. And I'll go over this in a little bit, but I don't talk about brand reach. So I've been a software company, also been on brand reach, right? With the podcast, somehow it's the top 2.5% podcast in the world. Somehow it's number 82 tech podcast in the world. I'm not Joe Rogan, but I have a decent following. And every day I get like between 10,000 to 20,000 views across social media. The workforce has changed. Despite what Amazon, JP Morgan, all these big companies are telling you, the workforce has changed permanently, right? Workers want something autonomous and flexible, right? But unfortunately, old HR is still doing things the old way, right? Old HR is still for corporations working 9 to 5. And that's not the reality of the world right now. So at Cavness HR, we want to be ahead of the shift and build something for the future work 2025 and beyond. And these stats for the United States, I don't bet, if I did, I'd bet these stats transfer across the United States. And they're not going to add up because people do different things. So meet Anna. She's a small business owner. She has a company called People. Her company's doing well, but HR has consistently constantly kicked her butt, right? She tried to turn an HR hire that costs too much money. And HR consultants, and here I'll be like 100% honest and transparent, I want to put HR consultants out of business. Because like Anna learned, pretty much all of them, I mean, don't get me wrong, but pretty much all of them are like overcharged on price, under-deliver on value. And you have like outsourced HR, inflexible, and probably the worst of all is HR. Anna had a bookkeeper with HR too, right? Which actually made it worse because she had no idea what she was doing, and it detracted from bookkeeping, so it's lose-lose. And so the future work is agile and data-driven, and this is not it, right? And so because of this, Anna is not getting the information she needs, the data she needs to make fast and decisive people decisions to help grow her business, help protect her business. Big market, and this does not include like global HR consulting, doesn't include benefits, all that kind of stuff, right, which we want to do. And most of the spend is going to corporate enterprises, like companies with 33,000 people and all like HR teams, right? And so Anna and small business owners like her, all the 5 million small business owners, have to pay overprices for HR consulting, and they have to deal with clunky, outdated HR systems built last century for last century's work. Technology. All right, so I spent 25 years in the Army solving systems problems, right? Problems across logistics, medical, personnel, multinational operations, other things, right? And with things you rely on people for systems, it's going to break down, right? You need some kind of structured logic, some kind of engineering, right? And as we all know, HR is broken now, right? It's fragmented, it's all over the place because most small businesses are relying on people for manual processes. There's no system behind it, right? And it's just not working. And so we want to include AI, engineering, self-data feedback loops, and all this stuff. Basically, we want to map out engineering across HR. So one thing we want to do, we want to use AI just not for automation's sake or AI's sake, but to provide real intelligent insights to the small business owner. To provide the small business owner data, information they need to make good decisions to promote their business. And so we want to combine, like I said, a mobile-first, AI-powered, ethically balanced, or ethically based, with cybersecurity as a foundation, not the next step, based in the middle, at the beginning. I mean, combined with actual HR partner. I know, right?
Thank you for saying it.
So basically what we want to do, we want to combine deep HR expertise with engineering logic to give the best possible platform to small business owners. We also eventually want to build an all-in-one platform, because mostly like you have like Gusto doing payroll, Bamboo doing HR, another thing doing benefits. Eventually you want to do everything in one platform. How it works is more complex than this, but simply it's going to be detect, analyze, recommend, and execute. So the system is going to detect potential problems in your workforce and make recommendations, or actually analyze it first for actual recommendations, and then either a business partner or the platform is going to execute. So think of Kavness HR as a self-driving car. It's going to learn in real time, adapt in real time, and it's going to pull from different sources. You know, HR is like government-based. It's going to pull from the Department of Labor, Equal Opportunity Commission, and all the state laws. It's going to pull from like the Small Business Owners Employer Handbook, HR policies. Basically, combining human with AI synergy. It's going to learn and adapt instantly. And so from my mindset, HR is not a soft skill, it's not admin function. HR is an engineering challenge that we need to fix. And so I want to re-engineer the future of HR by using engineering principles. So what we're doing is mapping over engineering principles across like HR. For example, using signal processing to figure out behavior data, and using system engineering to redo organization design, and using ops research to help with workforce scheduling. Go-to-market strategy is right now is basically my podcast and social media. I push out like thousands of clips all the time, HR content. I partner with companies like the Seattle Chamber of Commerce. And you might not know this, but each neighborhood in Seattle has like small business organizations. Like Pioneer Square has one, South Dakota Union has one. So I'm partnering with them too, and also with veteran organizations. Some early wins. Obviously, I wish more early wins. The biggest one, we've laid out our product roadmap from now to the end of time, right, so to speak, right? Of course, we have to make changes. We have the laid out along with the designs. We've released, like, I want to call it MVP and minus, but we still need to finalize the actual MVP scope, like what's going to be in the MVP. And we need to work on our sales model, our sales stuff. There's one thing kicking my butt is the sales. So on two big initiatives right now. The first is build Kavness HR Builders Club. I want to give everyone a chance here in the room and the live stream be part of building Kavness HR. So 3 levels. The first one is a free level. Basically, you sign an LOI. You help us build out Kavness HR. Give us feedback on the features and stuff like that. Next one is the Founders Club, month to month. For that one, we'll actually help you with HR, but no one's going to work 40 hours a week for you, but we'll do stuff like recruiting, maybe do some HR stuff for you, maybe give you advice. And the last one is a lifetime deal, $497 one-time fee. You have this for life, right? Even if you increase prices, it's still one-time fee. And if you don't build Kavness HR in a reasonable amount of time, you get your money back. And so this is like only for like people in this room in the live stream, anyone you refer to. Next one, I'm doing a crowdfunding on Refunder starting September 8th. We're doing a soft launch today. Minimum $100 investment. And I'll send these QR codes to everyone to take a look at it. So the Refunder, we tell that to everyone. And then finally, I think like Steve Jobs, Tim Cook always say there's one more thing. So my one more thing is like, on my podcast, I've done 300 talks to entrepreneurs, and I just released a 7 ebook series. And I'm gonna send that to all of you, right? So the plan is starting next week, I'll send it one week at a time. I'll give you the block here right now. And so, and actually, Zion is in here somewhere. Zion is in the book. Natasha, the bartender, she's in the book too. And the titles are 10 leadership, top 10 leadership insights, top mistakes, growth and resilience, emerging featured industries, unavoidable advice, and 50 podcast coach. So that's my gift to you for coming here. Thank you very much. I know usually people take questions, but I'm not going to take questions because I really speed it up. So, but if you have any questions, get me to you after this. Thank you for your time today. Really appreciate it. Next, I'm going to turn over to Kevin Goldsmith. Well, first, let me introduce Kevin Goldsmith the right way. So, Kevin Goldsmith, like a lot of people say, "Oh, I've done it all." Kevin Goldsmith has done it all right. For you who use Spotify, he was a VP engineering that built that platform out. He's a CTO at Avo, DistroKid, and Akata. He gives mentorship and talks like all over the world. I'm sure he's going to talk about his book he's selling later on called It. It's a really great book. He was on my board of advisors on the podcast Rice, and that's a very, very great person. So give me the honor and pleasure to introduce Kevin Goldsmith. I'm going to change the slides real fast.
Sorry, I'm hacking presentation stuff here. Okay, I'm going to have to do this with the two remotes. I need a pen to control everything. Cool. All right. I've been helping Jason out for a long time, like 8 years, 7, 8, 20,000 years. Yeah, like a zillion and a half years. And any of you who know Jason, when he asks you to do something, you just do it. That's what you do, and you never regret it. And so he asked me to give a talk here, and of course I said yes. And then he said, okay, what do you want me to talk about? Because of course I'm going to write a new talk for Jason. And he's like, well, there's a lot of startups. I'm like, all right, well, I'll talk about startups. Again, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. I'm Kevin Goldsmith. I am the CTO of DistroKid, which if you're in music, you know. If you're not in music, it's fine. I also run kind of a small boutique consulting practice called Nimble Autonomy, and I'm here representing Nimble Autonomy today. I'm absolutely delighted to be part of this. I have also,
Kevin, another drink.
what everyone said, I've been really impressed by the startups here. Lots of cool stuff, lots of cool technology. Where to start? Like, there's a ton of founders here, a ton of investors, advisors. I've been doing startup stuff in Seattle and other places for over 25 years. And I advise companies. I've been in seed stage. I've been in series A, B, C, and D. And I've learned over the years, and I've seen that there's a set of things that companies, startups do that are successful, and then there's something that a lot of startups that aren't successful tend to miss. And that is this idea of building a system for building products. So having been a founder, right, you have a cool idea for a thing, you have a problem to solve, you're really excited about the idea, and you're really focused on getting that idea into the world. And that's all you think about. What I've seen is, if you've got this beautiful idea that you love, and you're competing with a company that's not thinking just about the idea, but how to build a factory to build ideas, they're gonna beat you. They're gonna beat you every time. And I've been beat from that. And I've been part of companies that have had that thought and been that deliberate about building a system, and they've done much, much better. So that's what I'm gonna talk about today. Yes, excellent. So yeah, if you're When you're starting out, it is really all about the idea. You've got a vision, maybe even a prototype. You're ready to make something, and that's awesome. That's what gets you going. But the truth is, if you're really good at building a craft project, and these other companies are building, product factories, they're going to go faster. They're going to be more adaptable when they have to make changes. When things go wrong, they're going to be able to kind of roll through those. And if you're just really focused on your idea, you're going to miss out on that stuff. So when I say system, what do I mean? Because we talk a lot about systems thinking, and I was talking to somebody here a lot about what is systems thinking and systemic approaches. What I mean is that when I talk about a system, I mean the infrastructure, the intentional, and this is important, unintentional processes that allow you to build, ship, learn, and recover. Your product is actually the output. That's the output of the systems that you build. If the system is everything that makes that possible, it's what keeps you going as you go. If the product changes, the system helps you adapt. If the market shifts, the system is what helps you pivot. And if something breaks, the system is what helps you recover. Let me give you an example from my own experience here in Seattle. Back in 2000, I was a Microsoft person. A lot of us love Microsoft. Went to go do startups. I was one of those people. And the startup, some of you may remember, if you were around back then, was called Bootleg Networks. It was in the digital music space. We had a really famous musician as a founder, and it was a bunch of big label people and ex-Microsoft people that did this startup, including myself. We knew how to build software. We were all experienced software developers, product managers, the whole thing. But we didn't know how to build in a startup system. We were all coming from big companies. So we knew how to ship products on CDs and DVDs, because it was 2000. But this was an internet product, so we didn't know how to do those systems. We brought the wrong systems to the problem. Systems from big companies, from big media companies. When it came time to pivot, because we had to pivot, because that's what you have to do, we were too slow. We were too slow. We had a real trouble adapting. And we were heavy and rigid. We eventually figured this out. We had to, after we more or less cycled through the whole development team, except for me. I ended up having to rebuild the development team, and when I did, I figured out maybe not hiring a bunch of big company people is not the solution to this. We kind of figured it out, we got into a much better shape, but by that point, it was already too late. The market had moved on, our investors had moved on, we couldn't prove to them that we were able to adapt, and the company shut down, along with a lot of other ones, but we might have been able to survive if we maybe approached it in a different way. So I talked about the unintentional systems that evolve. This is the thing. Every company has systems. You may say, like, no, we're just trying to get through the week. We're just trying to get to that first round of funding. We're just trying to get AOA to give us 175 grand or something. We're not thinking about that, but it happens anyway. So these systems emerge from habits that what happens when you're working, from the defaults that people have, and from urgency, because we're all at early stage startups, we're all facing a lot of urgency. They'll be reinforced by learned behaviors. New people join, they look at what other people do, and they go, okay, this is how this works, whether that was supposed to be the way it works or not. And they'll also kind of assign myth to why it works this way, because they don't know. They see people doing something, they say, I guess this is what we do. And when they ask somebody, why do we do it this way, they go, I don't know. This is how we've always done it. So they start to try and figure it out themselves, because no one's explained it to them and no one's thought it through. So it's reinforced by these behaviors and myths instead of decisions and documentation. The question is whether those systems actually support what the company you're trying to build and the product you're trying to build. You need to choose your systems instead of having these systems evolve organically in a potentially dangerous way on their own. So I want to talk you through 4 different systems that I think every startup needs, even from day one. The first system is execution. Now, obviously, startups are all about execution, right? Ideas are cheap. Execution is what makes the startup work. But when I talk about execution, I'm talking about how do you get an idea from your head into your customer's hands, right? How do you deliver value to the customers? Now, at Spotify, Jason mentioned I was a VP of engineering at Spotify, and that was during the kind of hyper growth stage, right? When we really took off. That company, a lot of people kind of know stuff from that company, not just for the product, but because of things like the Spotify squad model. How many people know the Spotify squad model? Okay, few. It was really famous for its execution systems. And that was deliberate. There was a deliberate thought. The company knew we want to grow quickly. We have to build a system that allows us to do that. And there was a lot of discussion and a lot of thought put into how to make that work. And they designed a system that was all about building team autonomy so that teams could operate independently. Because what they were trying to figure out was, as they were starting to grow, any of you who've ever been in a larger company where teams kind of have to work together, what happens? Okay, well, we need a meeting to talk about when the deliveries are going to be and what you're going to deliver and what we're going to deliver. And then, then we need another meeting to kind of check in on the status of that. And then we need another meeting because this third team now is making a new requirement on us, right? Any of you who've been at any company of any kind of reasonable size have dealt with that. And it's a pain, and it slows everything down. Spotify didn't want that. So what they said is, what we're going to do is make each team its own company, and they're going to be able to execute and run at full speed. And they built a system to make that work, and that was a deliberate decision and a system that they designed to make the company work. And it executed exceptionally well. But another part of it was they also knew the company was growing. So as a part of the team that was responsible for this stuff in engineering, we would occasionally revisit and look at it and say, is this still working? And if we thought it wasn't, we'd change it. And when we change it, we'd say, this is how long we think this new thing will work for. And as we approach that deadline, we'd look at it and we'd say, is this still working? Do we need to change it? And then we'd revisit it. Anytime we made a decision, we put in an end date for when we thought it would probably stop working. We never assumed that things were fixed. And that was also part of that execution system. So how many of you think in your companies today, if you ask the people in your company, even if it's just you, even if you're a solo founder today, if you walk around and ask everybody in your company, how do we get ideas from our heads to our customer hands? How many of you think everybody in the company would say the same thing, or close to the same thing? All right, that was easy. That was an easy question. Okay, I'm like serious. Raise your hand if you think everybody would say the same thing. Oh, one person. There we go. Even again, like me having been a founder, I could tell you even when it was just in my own head, different days I'd probably tell you different things as I was trying to figure it out. That's telling you that you need this execution system, because the minute you hire the next developer or the developer after that, at some point this is going to start to really hurt you. The next system is feedback. And again, I hit the wrong button on the remote. The two remotes was always going to bite me. Okay. The second system is feedback. And when I talk about feedback, I mean, how do you know if what you're building is working? And I mean that on multiple levels. Do you have product market fit? That's feedback, right? Are you hearing from your customers that you're building the right product for them? I also mean, is your system up? Because I'm coming from the CTO world. How do you know if your system's actually working? So how many of you in this room find out your system isn't working because somebody tweets at you or slacks you from a customer channel or something like that? I'll say, like, it still happens to us sometimes. And that certainly when the company was founded, the founder actually, that was our monitoring. The founder would wait till somebody tweeted at him to tell him that our website was down. That's how he knew the website would go down. And you would just assume that people would do that. And that was, for him, a decision. He was very thinking type of person. He knew that was okay, because he decided that's the way he wanted to do it. He didn't want to invest in monitoring. He wanted to make our customers feel involved in the company. So he thought this is a good way to do monitoring, have our customers tell us when the site's down. Now we're a much bigger company, we're 10 years in, we've got a few million customers. Yeah, that doesn't work anymore. So now we have all those great monitoring systems. But I'll tell you, that's really been the last few years because we're also trying to understand in real time how our customers are using the product. So we're following all the flows and all those kinds of things because we need to get the feedback from our customers. And that was a decision. We changed the system, we built a new system, or new sets of systems. But again, it was a very deliberate choice because we were a different company at a different time period. The third system is people. So Jason was just talking about HR. This is not just an HR thing. This is, as a founder, this is everything. This is your culture. This is also, like, how do you know what decisions to make? If you, as a founder, if you're afraid to leave the room because you think that decisions will start being made that are going to be bad decisions, that means you haven't put in your people systems. You haven't put in your execution systems, you haven't put in your feedback systems. And early on, having been an early stage company person, your culture, your company culture, if you're a solo founder, your company culture is your head, right? Whatever in your head, that's your company culture. Whatever you think, that's your company culture. If you're a co-founder, guess what? Your company culture is the intersection of what you believe and what your co-founder believes. And guess what? It's almost, you're not the exact same person. So it's going to be a smaller group. Every person you hire, that overlap gets smaller and smaller and smaller. I used to explain it this way. If I like the office cold and you like the office hot, okay, well we're going to find like lukewarm or something is what we're going to set the thermostat to until we hire the third person and they like the office like really cold, so now it'll start to get colder. And if you like the office hot, you're going to be less happy. And maybe what we should do is actually talk about this early on before we hire 50 people or 100 people or even 5 people and say, what do we think, like if this is important to us, what temperature should the office be? And then from then on, when we interview somebody, we say, what temperature do you like the office? And if they say, and we've decided we like the office really cold, and they say, I really like the office hot, then you go, you know what, this may not be the right company for you. And so that's the easiest one. But I mean, the thing that really taught me this kind of stuff was Netflix. Like the Netflix culture deck. Like hopefully we've all read the Netflix culture deck, even though it's pretty old at this point. If you haven't, you should. And I say that not because I think Netflix is so awesome. In fact, when the Netflix culture deck came out, I read it, and what it made me think is, I never want to work at Netflix. But it was cool. I really appreciated it. One, they were incredibly transparent about who they were and what was important to them. And two, they shared it, so I could make that decision without like going to interview at Netflix, maybe getting the job, showing up, and realizing, oh, this was a huge mistake. Right? That was incredibly smart of them. They thought through their people systems. So it's worth reading just to think about, just to see how a company defines its people systems and just how thoroughly they did that. And it set them up for a lot of their success. The fourth system is resilience. What happens when things go wrong? Right? Because it's gonna. It's gonna. Every startup in the room is going to tell you, can give you examples of when things go wrong. And you don't need full like system run books or 100-page like plans, but you need to make some decisions about what should never break, right? If I'm a fintech company, what should we never screw up? People's money. And we're going to do whatever we need to do to not screw up people's money. As a CTO of an ID verification company, we had literally millions and millions and millions of passport photos and driver's license photos in our systems. The number one thing that we would never break is we would never leak those. Actually, an IDV company just did that. And that company is going to be gone. Because who's going to work with a company that leaks your most sensitive PII? But so that was the line I drew with that company. We will never leak this data. And I'm okay to ship slower so that we don't leak this data. And I'm okay if we're down because we chose to put security over this. But that's the decision that we made. And that was the system that we built. What should never break? What can break but should recover quickly? And then what's the general plan if things go wrong? And that could be like we missed our quarterly numbers. Sales missed quarterly numbers this quarter. That shouldn't be a, oh my God, what do we do? That should be a, yeah, that happens. What's the plan? So you don't have to do every plan for every eventuality, because you're never going to do it. It's just not realistic. But you should figure out what the most important things that need to be resilient are, and then figure out what you want to do when they're not. So another important piece is having the right system at the right time. So I talked about at Bootleg how we were bringing big company systems to a tiny little startup, and it was totally wrong. Even if you're designing systems, it gets really tempting to do this. There was a company I worked for where I'd just come from, Avo. We had a 10-year-old stack, and we were dealing with tons and tons of tech debt. I went to an early stage company, and I thought, okay, I'm going to be really smart this time, because we're going to architect things from the beginning. We're going to build microservices, and we're going to have all these deployment tools and all this kind of stuff, so that we never hit that problem. Which what happened instead? We massively over-engineered for a tiny little startup, and it slowed us way down. Even coming from one startup going to another startup at a different stage, I made the same mistake. I don't make that mistake anymore. Your systems have to match your stage. So don't build for 500 employees when you have 5. Build for 15, revisit at 25, and rewrite at 50. Right? And definitely definitely plan for that 15 when you're 5. Don't think you're going to wing it, because then you're going to end up with these kind of organically built systems that people don't agree on. And it doesn't have to take a lot of work either. So, it sounds like I'm giving everybody tons and tons of homework. It doesn't really have to be that way. When I was at this one early stage startup, I was starting to grow out the development team, and I realized we never had that conversation. So just talking to different people at the company, I could realize different people had different interpretations of how we worked. So I brought everybody, which we could at that time, because it was 10 of us, into a room, and said, okay, we're going to figure out who we are as a company and who we want to be someday. And we're going to spend 90 minutes to do it, and we're going to come out of here with a written document. And the document is 1 page. So we did, because then when I went to go hire developers, I could say, this is who we are, and this is who we want to be. Is this the kind of company you want to work at? Is this the kind of company you're excited to be at? And that worked. Then they could come in and be part of that and feel like they were helping us get to that where we were trying to be, as opposed to not understanding why we didn't do it the way they wanted to do it. So I want to reiterate this idea. This is important. As you design your systems, specifically you founders, but if you're the co-founder or if you're the head of a department or something like that, build these systems for your absence, not for your presence. Now, I know, because the last couple of years we've talked a lot about founder mode, bringing the founder back into the criticality into the critical decisions as the company scales. That's great. This isn't necessarily saying that isn't the case. I personally don't like it, but that's different. But I'll tell you though, Brian Chesky at Airbnb isn't part of every decision. He's going to be part of the important decisions, and he's got a system in place that says this is where I need to be part of the decisions, and everything else, here's the system so you don't need me, right? That's the important piece. If you're designing these systems that are hey, Kevin needs to make every decision, when Kevin is in a meeting, or Kevin's meeting with investors, or is on a sales call, or, oh my goodness, dealing with life, that isn't work, the company stops. Right? So make sure you're building systems that survive without you being actually in the room. So it's easy to get started. It's easy for me to say, oh, you gotta go build systems, and you're like, okay, well that's great, I want to build systems. Well, how do I do that? I really want to say, I'm not asking you to write 100-page documents every day when you're trying to build a company and raise revenue. Think about a couple things. Like I said, think about your execution. What are you trying to maximize? What are you trying to minimize? That's a paragraph on a piece of paper. And again, or on a electronic document. Again, I think it's super important to write it down and to share it with everybody on board. What's the goal? What's the goal of your execution system? Is it bring value to customers as quickly as possible? Maybe you want to do something like Spotify. If it's absolutely, we never lose a penny of a customer sent. All right, what kind of systems are we going to build that make sure that never happens as part of our execution? If you're trying to get feedback, yeah, you can do what we did and like completely instrument your app. It took a lot of time and a lot of work, and it's really expensive. Doesn't make sense for anybody unless you're at our stage. But at your stage, just talk to 3 customers. For those of you who are like more B2B, you're doing that hopefully all the time already. I kind of live in the B2C world a lot, and we don't normally talk to our customers, we talk to them in aggregate, but when we were getting started, we talked to them all the time. Like I said, the founder didn't put monitoring in, he expected the customers to tweet at him to let him know when the system was down, because that would start a conversation. He wanted to talk to customers all the time. Define one team ritual. Could just be, hey, we always have lunch on Friday. It doesn't have to be like a big deal. It could be something small. We stand up every morning and we talk about what's going on in the business. And pick one aspect of your company to be resilient. Do one a month, okay? What happens when the system goes down? Okay, let's make a quick plan for that. What happens when, I used this as an example earlier today, like what happens when the marketing team accidentally tweets something offensive in some country that they didn't realize it was offensive in? Like that's maybe advanced, maybe not a problem you all have, but yeah, it's gonna happen at some point. So, all right, I've talked at you long enough. We want to get to the awards. Let me give you some to leave you with. Your product is just the beginning. The system is what makes it fast and last. Execution, feedback, people, resilience. These systems complement each other. These systems support each other. Build these systems intentionally, and you're building something that will scale, adapt, and survive, and will evolve as necessary. Oh, I did it again. Wait. Okay. Here's how to reach me. I'm Kevin Goldsmith almost everywhere, so it's pretty easy to find me there. But these are websites. As Jason mentioned, I wrote a book last year, published a book. I am going to have copies of the physical book here. Happy to sign them. I'm going to be out there after this, and I'm selling them cheap today for you all. But this is a business event. I'm selling them, so. But maybe I'll give some up. We'll see. Be nice. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Kevin. Next, I want to introduce the CEO of Century Computing. So this event would not have been possible without the title sponsor of Century Computing. So a few remarks from Tate. Thank you, Tate.
Thank you. We had our slides up all day until it's now, but that's all right. We'll figure it out. I'm Tate Covert. I'm the CEO and founder of Century Computing. At one point, we were Seattle Computing, if you've ever heard of us from that name. I've been working as an outsourced IT person or company in Seattle since about 2001. So it's been a while. We are a pretty strong team, lots of people. We are very honored to have been able to support this event. It was great to see all the new ideas out there, right? That's what keeps us moving. I want to make sure if you haven't that you signed up for the raffle, and this is just a plug only for yourselves because we're just literally giving away 2 sets of 4 Mariners tickets to club seats to whatever game we can agree on going to, so please don't forget to do that. I will announce the winners of the winner of the contest very shortly. I wanted to add something from us. We hadn't announced it yet. We are big into cybersecurity, right? As every managed IT service firm had to be. I think some took it more seriously than others. I had a great conversation with someone here about like regulation in our industry because there isn't any, which is crazy. But we're very focused on cybersecurity. We are going to give the winning company some cybersecurity product coverage from a company called Huntress, who's helping to kind of support the event. That's a year's worth of cyber protection, honestly, for like not only the desktop, cloud environments, SIEM, like all these kind of fun things that are in the market right now. We're going to give that away from them. We're also going to give the winner another set of Mariners tickets because that's fun and we're one of the Mariners sponsors. I think without too much further ado, I wanted to make sure everyone knew all of the stuff that the founder is getting. And of course, right when I go to that page on my phone, it decides not to work. But there's a ton of stuff being given away today. Some people announced it, but there's 6 months of free bookkeeping from Accounting. There's a series of 30-minute consults from S2SPR. There's 12 hours of free software dev from Salal Labs. There's a free topic keyword research package of SEO from 8-Bit Content. Attendees and companies to apply get 10% off next event at PNW Bar events. WowRack is giving away a lot, by the way, up to a year of cloud infrastructure credits and 6 months of co-location. That's a big give. 1 hour free legal consult. Please consult your lawyers. It's always a good idea. From SSM Legal. Free copies of a profit generating pipeline from Leslie Ventez. 5 hours of user experience consultation. So funny. I review products all the time. People bring me like, hey, what do you think of this product? I look at the UI and I'm like, nope, that's not it, and I move on. So like, make sure you're having a big consultation with someone about that. User experience is huge. 1 hour free feedback on your startup from Earth VC, and the stuff we just announced from us. So without further ado, the unanimous winner, or the chosen winner of the contest, I think it was unanimous, was Doppel. And thank you guys very much. So we'll all get with you to figure out how you're getting all your prizes, your big load of prizes, and then we will do the raffle separately from this. I'm not going to do it right now, so I'll just send. If you did, make sure you put your name in there because we're going to draw it later. Like, get your free Mariners tickets, because why wouldn't you? So cool. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. We have the room till 5 o'clock. There's plenty of food, plenty of drinks. Stay around, network. Let's have a good time, and thank you once again for coming. I really appreciate it.